Hey everyone, and good afternoon. It's Joe. You are watching a Pocket with Joe over here on a Sports Grid. I hope everyone's day has started off fantastic, and we've got a massive card here today on the ice. We've got 12 games on the ice, so we are going to try to go through all of these games as fast as we can. Now, we are live on X, formerly known as Twitter. We're also live on IG Live. So let me know where you're watching below, and let me know if you cashed with that same game parlay yesterday. We're really been cashing on these shots on goal props here, parlaying them together. And as I told you guys, the juice is just getting out of control on some of these guys for their shots on goal. The book's really catching up on them this season. So yesterday, we still cashed and it was at plus 216. That same game parlay on shots on goal. We had Dylan Larkin, Sidney Crosby, and Malkin all three plus a shots on goal, again plus 216. So we do have one tonight that we're going to go with here as well, and it's going to be, hopefully, fingers crossed, a money maker in that one. But let's get right to these games. Like I said, 12 games to go over, and I'm trying to make the show as fast as possible. And one thing to note, if you're watching on IG Live, it does not get saved over here, but you can go over to X and you can look at the show there. I'm also going to add bookmarks for you guys so that you can jump ahead to the games that you wanted to get those bets on. Let's look at the first game here. And all odds are on FanDuel, you guys. So if you're looking for the odds that I'm giving out, you head on over to fanduel.com or fanduel.ca and you'll be able to get those. The first game we're kicking off with is the Vancouver Canucks taking on the Tampa Bay Lightning. The Vancouver Canucks current odds here are plus 110. Minus 132 here for the Tampa Bay Lightning, a total of 6.5. Juice to that over at minus 130. And I see why they're juicing this one to the over. We know both of these teams are able to score. And I do think this is going to be a high scoring one going over that total. Demko expected in goal for the Vancouver Canucks. Now, he has a save shots on goal number 28.5. And we have Johansson coming in here for the Tampa Bay Lightning. His number is 25.5. So the book's expecting Demko to face more shots in this one, with his number being that little bit higher. We look at the ability for both of these teams to get those shots on goal, and that's just hasn't been coming. Both teams have been pretty limited. The Vancouver Canucks, 24.3 shots on goal per game, but still averaging 4 goals per game. Now, we know the majority of those goals did come versus the Edmonton Oilers against Jack Campbell and Stuart Skinner. So that number is kind of overinflated in my opinion. But looking at the Tampa Bay Lightning, they've been averaging 3.23 goals per game and 26.5 shots. I do think the shots pick up for both of these teams in this game. Defensively, both teams are allowing a lot of shots, with the Vancouver Canucks allowing over 36 shots on goal per game and the Tampa Bay Lightning right around that 35 number. So expecting both these teams to be able to get some nice shots in this one. We know the Vancouver Canucks are coming off a game where offensively they fell apart versus the Flyers. They made us some money though by falling apart. The Flyers getting that 2-0 win in that last game. I do expect this team to offensively be able to really open up in this game. I'm going to look at the Vancouver Canucks here, and I'm going to sprinkle a little bit for them to get the straight up win here on the road. Tampa's defense is just really letting them down at the moment, and I'm not sure in this one if they're going to be able to slow the young and fast, talented team of the Vancouver Canucks. And we saw what this team was able to do versus Edmonton when Edmonton underestimated them. And I think the Lightning will look at them in this situation saying, well, they got lucky versus Edmonton, and then they fell flat to the Flyers. But I do think this is one where we can look at Vancouver to come out strong. Eliza Peterson has been solid. One goal on the season and 5 assists. The thing with him, he's not getting a lot of shots on goal, but when he got that one shot on goal, it was able to sink in that one game. I do look for him to be solid. Quinn Hughes, another player to look at for his points. He's got 4 assists on the season, 4 shots on goal in the last game. And then Stamkos. It looks like Stamkos is playing, you guys. So great news for the Tampa Bay Lightning and anyone supporting this team here. Stamkos was amazing in the last game. He had 6 shots on goal, 2 goals and 1 assist, putting him at 2 goals and 2 assists on the season. He's been lights out. And of course, Braden Point, 4 assists on the season, 3 shots on goal in the last game. And Hagel scoring both of the goals in that last game that he played now. And in that one, he had 2 or 3 shots on goal and 2 goals. So, Brandon Hagel coming out nice and strong. Over is this game. It's written all over it with a sprinkle on the Vancouver Canucks to get the win. Let me know what you guys think if you're willing to ride with the Vancouver Canucks in this game to get the win, or if you think the Lightning back at home should be able to improve defensively. If this team doesn't improve defensively, that will be their downfall in this game. Okay, gonna talk about my Calgary Flames. The Calgary Flames are taking on the Buffalo Sabres. This is a 7:10 Eastern game. Minus 120 here for the Calgary Flames on the road. The Buffalo Sabres at plus 100. Total 6.5. Again, juice to that over at minus 132. Okay, this is one where I try to take my bias out of it, of what I've seen out of Calgary. Now, they have a new head coach, and this team looks revitalized out there with Huska being their head coach. I do think this team comes out and scores fast, and this is what we've seen out of them. We saw them in that last game versus the Washington Capitals, which they ended up losing. They came out fast right out of the gate. I'm expecting them to come out fast out of the gate in this one as well. But the Buffalo Sabres, this team is interesting. They've been very limited on their abilities to get those goals, and it's not like this team. This is a young, talented team who I think we will see that offensive explosion out of in one of these games. And tonight, I think, is the night versus the Calgary Flames. Now, Dan Vladar is expected in net here. He is a stronger goalie right out of the gate, except this is still his first game of the season. I think a little bit of nerves on the road here could be a factor for Dan Vladar. I look for this one to go over. I know it's juiced at minus 132 to the over 6.5. It's the only way I could look. I couldn't look at this one to stay under that total. And I know we look at the Buffalo Sabres only averaging 2 goals per game, but I really do think this one is a game where we could see 4 out of the Buffalo Sabres. Now, depending on which team you like here, you can look at that team total over 3.5. You're going to get some plus money on the Buffalo Sabres over 3.5. My only worry here is Calgary comes out hot right out of the gate and then only gets 2 goals. We know Calgary has been coming out hot and then they've been fizzling off. Hopefully they're not able to do that. But if you do agree with me that both of these teams come out hot out of the gate, I think the best bet here is the first period over 1.5 goals. Now it's juiced at minus 145. So sort of a parlay piece here. I'd be adding that with whoever maybe you think is going to get the goal in this game. We know Tage Thompson has been held off the board for the Buffalo Sabres, and this is not like him. I expect him to at least get a point tonight. When we look at him versus the Calgary Flames in the last couple of games versus them, past 4 games versus the Calgary Flames, he has 2 goals and 1 assist. So this is a team that Tage Thompson does come out nice and strong versus. I do think Benson, also looking at him for his points tonight for the Buffalo Sabres, is a nice way to go. Now, Mangiapane and Lindholm, very strong here for the Calgary Flames, as well as Huberdeau. I expect those points to come in for them. This is going to be a good one, you guys. I do think this is going to be a back and forth battle. If I had to pick a side, I'd be looking honestly at the value you're getting on the Buffalo Sabres here at home. Calgary, I don't know. There's just something about this team and that loss to the Capitals, overtime loss to the Capitals in a game that they got up to start. It's kind of like they're just not giving it 100% for all 3 periods. Now, they're able to limit those penalties. And this is the best thing that Calgary is doing right now, honestly, holding their penalty time to the 3rd best overall in the league with only 6.7 minutes. So if they're able to do this, they're winning the faceoffs at 58.6%. This team has a legitimate opportunity to get this win. They got the Red Wings on deck on Sunday, but then they have the Columbus Blue Jackets tomorrow. Now, they've always played the Columbus Blue Jackets strong, so this is their first night of a back-to-back. They've also played the Buffalo Sabres in Buffalo strong, winning the last 5 meetings. They've played the Columbus Blue Jackets strong. It'll be interesting to see how they do in all 3 of these games, especially versus the Red Wings on Sunday. If Calgary wins tonight and wins versus the Buffalo Sabres, it'll be an automatic fade versus the Red Wings for me. But I do think this is one where Calgary should put up a fight. I like the over, especially for Buffalo. The Sabres team total to that over in that first period over, you guys. Okay, the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Nashville Predators. Current odds on this, the Leafs coming in at minus 138. Plus 115 for the Florida Panthers, a total of 6.5. Now, highly juiced to this over at minus 158. It's like the books need to put up some sevens here because I do think we'll easily go over a 7 in this one. So if you can find a 7, I think it'd be a great way to go. Now, revenge will be on Toronto's mind. We know what happened last season with the Florida Panthers kicking them out of the playoffs in the second round, in a round where Toronto deserved to be kicked out. Sorry, Toronto fans, but honestly, it was like they forgot that they were playing hockey and they were too interested in playing golf during the day. So the Leafs will come in here with a little bit of a vengeance. They've got a fantastic power play right now. Samsonov is confirmed in goal and Bobrovsky here for the Florida Panthers. The Florida Panthers haven't been getting the goals that we've been expecting out of this team this season. They are averaging under 3 goals per game at 2.67, but getting 34.7 shots on goal. Now, looking at the Toronto Maple Leafs, Austin Matthews has been absolutely phenomenal. This team averaging that 4.33 goals per game, 36.7 shots on goal. But here's the kicker. They're giving up every single goal that they get. They're allowing that 4.33 on limited shots here. So this is a goaltending issue and the defense too. Now, this team is off an embarrassing loss, and I'm saying embarrassing because it really was versus the Chicago Blackhawks. They normally bounce back. This is a team we see season in and season out, bounce back off those bad losses. So can they bounce back here? They've struggled versus Florida, and you look at Florida, home dog here. This is their season opener. This is a team that hasn't been getting the goals we expected. Montour and Ekblad have been out. So I understand why defensively they're giving up that 3.67. But if they go back and forth and exchange goals in this one, it is going to go over the 6.5. I'd be confident in it going over a 7 as well. I don't think you'll get the push at 7. So shop those lines. Now, Matthew Tkachuk yet to get that goal on the board. I do think he gets the goal in this one. That's coming in at plus 120. He's been pushing you guys. No goals for assists so far. Now, Sam Reinhart has been getting those goals. He has 3 goals and 1 assist on the season. Now, his shots on goal, he had 5 shots, 4 shots, and 2 shots in those last 3 games. Austin Matthews, 6 goals. He's had 2 hat tricks so far this season. So, you know, Austin Matthews is bringing his A game. Those shots on goal for Austin Matthews, 8 in the last game, 5 in the prior, and 8 prior to that. He's been fantastic. Now, William Nylander as well has been nice and solid. 3 goals and 3 assists. His shots on goal, though, limited last game, held to 2 in that one, 6 and 5 the ones before. And John Tavares here with 1 goal and 5 assists. So his goals, shots on goal, really picked up for the last game at 6. I do have the same game shots on goal parlay in this one that I am liking. So let's jump to that. I'm going to look at this one comes in at plus 562. Now, you can't just take the 3 shots on goal, and you're not going to get the value there. So if you're looking to get, a plus 100, plus 150 kind of bet, you can take all of these guys down to 3 plus shots on goal. I'm confident in these guys to get those 4. The first player we're going to look at is Austin Matthews for 4 plus shots on goal. We're going to combine it with Matthew Tkachuk for the 4 plus shots on goal, William Nylander for the 4 plus shots on goal, and Sam Reinhart. We can bump him down because we're not laying too much juice at 3 plus shots on goal. So that 4-leg parlay with everyone at 4 except for Sam Reinhart is plus 152. Now, if you're looking to take one of these legs out, who do I have the least faith in? It would have to be, I think, William Nylander here. Now, he was held to 2 in the one prior, the last game. I do expect him to get at least 3 or 4 in this one. So he would be my kind of iffy situation. If you want to take someone out, and you could bump them all down to 3, but I do think there is so much value in this one at plus 562. Now, looking at those goal scorers, you have to look definitely at Matthew Tkachuk, Austin Matthews here to get those goals. Austin Matthews is going to stay absolutely hot out there. And we've seen goaltending issues, these goals coming in for both of these goaltenders with Bobrovsky and Samsonov. So I have faith in this one, you guys. It's going to be a great high-scoring game, especially if you like seeing those goals rack in. Now, as for a side, who gets it? Well, I have faith in the Florida Panthers in their home opener. I know Toronto wants revenge, and I know they normally bounce back, but I can't look past that plus money. It'd just be a small bet if you really want to bet a side in this one, because Toronto is dangerous off a loss. We all know that. Okay, next game. On the board, the Nashville Predators taking on the New York Rangers. This total is low, 5.5. Juice to the over at minus 132 to the under plus 108. Minus 188 here on the Rangers, plus 155 on the Predators. You guys, I can't look anywhere else but the New York Rangers in this matchup. I expect them to get the win. Now, because we're laying way too much juice on them to get the straight up win, you can look at the New York Rangers here to win in regulation. It just means that this one goes to overtime and they get the win. You have definitely lost your bet. In 60 minutes in regulation, that's coming in at the New York Rangers at minus 130 to get that win. And I do think there is a chance here for them to be able to run this one up and pull away here from Nashville Predators. I do think it's worth a sprinkle laying the 1.5 on the puck line. Current puck line odds here, you guys, is plus 136. It screams of value. This New York Rangers team has been so strong. Now, Igor Shesterkin will be in goal for the New York Rangers tonight. 2-1 on the season with a 2.37 goals against average. And we look at his save percentage, it's 0.904. Saros is off a terrible game for the Predators. I do expect a bounce back here out of him. I expect him to come out a lot stronger. Now, the Nashville Predators have been getting these shots on goal, averaging 36 shots on goal, but we're going to rely on Igor Shesterkin to come out here and really hold down the fort of this net here in the Garden and be able to stop them. Now, the Predators have been struggling to get those goals in the back of the net. So it kind of does correspond there. They're only averaging that 2.25. Now, defensively, the Predators being allowing that 3.5. Defensively, the Rangers allowing that 2.33. Limited penalty minutes for the Nashville Predators here. The Rangers are taking loaded penalties, and this is one thing that does scare me a little bit. But they have been winning those face-offs. So I do think they have the ability in this one to have a solid game. I do like this one under, and it's as long as Saros bounces back. Now, if Saros doesn't come back with that bounce back, we could see the New York Rangers go over this total themselves. So it's not my favorite bet on the under, but I do think with a bounce back out of Saros, we will stay under. This game screams to me 4-1 for the New York Rangers. I just still see the Preds struggling to score, especially on Igor Shesterkin. Now, struggling to cover the penalty kill here for the Predators as well. We've got a solid power play out of the Rangers. So as long as the Predators play the smart game, limiting their penalties, they should be able to stay under this total. There's a lot of ifs in this one. A couple players to look at for the Predators. You got to look at Forsberg here and Ryan O'Reilly for those points. Their shots on goal numbers, I would be confident in either of them for 3+ shots on goal in this one. Looking at the other side, Chris Kreider has been absolutely fantastic for the New York Rangers. He has 4 goals and 1 assist. His shots on goal being 3, 4, and 3. So I would be confident in him as well to go over 3 shots on goal. Going to be a good game. There's so many good games on the ice, you guys. Let me know which games you're watching and where you're watching from, who your hockey team is. I love to see how many more viewers we're getting every single day here. It's going to be a great one. And we made some money yesterday. So let's make some more money today. Okay, one game I did not make money on was the last time the Edmonton Oilers played. I almost called them the stupid Oilers. I should refrain from saying that word. The Oilers in that last game versus the Predators, they came out so phenomenally strong. I didn't expect that out of them. They're facing the Flyers tonight. Now, this is going to be an interesting one. The Oilers are a $2 favorite coming in at minus 205. Plus 172 here for the Philadelphia Flyers. That total of 6.5. Again, juice to that over at minus 140. I hate all the juice they're giving us on these overs right now. There's a reason why this one is juiced to the over. Jack Campbell, and I know we look at him in that last game, and he was absolutely phenomenal versus the Predators. In that game, he saved 42 of 43 shots on him. That is not Jack Campbell. I'm not buying into Jack Campbell. I think he had a hot game. Can he come out as hot in this one? I don't know if Jack Campbell can come out that hot. I just don't see it. So he's 1-1 on the season and it's still a 3.41 goals against average because of how he did in those first couple of games versus Vancouver Canucks. I expect that kind of goaltending out of him. Looking at the Philadelphia Flyers, Carter Hart has been phenomenal out here. 2-1 with a 2.35 goals against average. He's got a .921 save percentage, and he's off that shootout win. If Carter Hart, and this is a big if, we got to see which Carter Hart comes out of the gate because he's 3-3 against the Edmonton Oilers in his career. He has played better in LA, in Philly. Sorry, not in LA. He is a strong goalie in glimpses. This is a goalie that he's either red hot or he's not in these games. I expect him to do enough to keep this tight with Edmonton because this cannot be one where we're counting on the Flyers to trade goals with the Edmonton Oilers because we know that's not going to happen. Edmonton is so much stronger offensively. Edmonton, if they get on the power play, is going to capitalize 99.9% of the time. We know that. We know how strong this team is. The Flyers just can't keep up. So for the Flyers to keep this one tight, and I'm just looking at them plus 1.5 on that money, on that puck line, then it's got to be because Carter Hart has saved 95% of the shots on him. And that's the only way the Flyers can stay tight. So this isn't my favorite game because going against Connor McDavid and the Oilers is a scary situation, but they are 1-4 in their last 5 games in Philadelphia. So this is a place where they have shown their struggles. Connor McDavid, I caution you for taking his shots on goal. He just hasn't been getting these shots on goal game in and game out. Watching from Atlantic City, I absolutely love that. Big shout out to you. So, you guys, if you're looking for a player to get those shots on goal, Leon Draisaitl has been really strong. We know that he plays on that top line with Connor McDavid as well. His shots on goal, he had 5 in that last game out versus Connor McDavid, who only had 2. But this game comes down to Carter Hart and what he's able to do here. If, like I said, the Flyers take these penalties, they're averaging 16.3 minutes. Edmonton's going to blow them completely out of the water. So this might be a live bet. You'll be able to see right away how clean of a game the Flyers are playing in this because an unclean 100% game out of them is going to result in the Edmonton Oilers running away with a huge win in this one, especially because they're dominating those faceoffs as well at 51%. Okay. We're going to look next at the LA Kings. Let me just find the line for the LA Kings here. Over on FanDuel, I'm finding all my odds. You guys, it is a pick 'em right now with the Minnesota Wild, both coming in at -110. That hasn't moved from this morning. So I was interested to see if we got money on either side. Total 6.5. Now this total is just to the under at -140 to the under, plus 114 to the over. The Kings off a big win over the Winnipeg Jets, and I didn't see that one coming. The Winnipeg Jets with Connor Hellebuyck at home is a team that I love to bet on. The Kings rolled in there, putting 5 goals on them in that game, winning that one 5-1, limiting the Jets' ability to even score in that. Now, Cam Talbot will be in goal tonight for the LA Kings, and he's not a goalie that I have a lot of faith in. I've told you that coming into this season. He's just not a goalie I would have circled for the LA Kings to go over. And just quick question from Rob over on IG Live. No, I do way more than hockey, but I do a live hockey show here every day. So make sure you join us here every day. Turn on those notifications. The Minnesota Wild, Gustafsson is expected in goal for them tonight. Now, both of these teams have been really putting up these goals, as you saw with the Kings in the last game out. They're averaging 4 goals per game so far on the season and 31.7 shots on goal. And the Minnesota Wild averaging that 3.67 and 29.3 shots on goal. Now, the Wild are a team that we've always known as really strong defensively, and the Kings have come out really showing that they're led offensively this season, but we've seen that out of the Wild, with the Wild putting up those goals as well. I think in this one, I would look at the Wild at home. I just have a little bit more faith in them on their home ice here. Not one of my favorite games in this one, but I would also take that plus money on the over 6.5. I think this is another 4-3 style game. For the Kings to be able to put 5 goals on the Winnipeg Jets, still, it blows my mind. And we've had a couple of days since then. I'm still trying to get over the fact that they were able to get all of those goals. The Kings have 12 goals in their last 3 games. So give me the over 6.5 and give me a shot on the Wild here on the money line. Next game on the board. Okay, if you like two ugly teams, I guess not ugly teams, but not teams that get a lot of attention around them, the Arizona Coyotes taking on the St. Louis Blues. Well, this game is for you. The St. Louis Blues coming in at minus 118, minus 102 for the Arizona Coyotes, total of 6.5, up plus 106 to the over 6.5, minus 130 to the under 6.5. This game, you guys, I do think the Arizona Coyotes are improved, but I really like what we've seen out of the defense of the St. Louis Blues. I think both teams are going to struggle to get those high danger quality shots on each other. Now we do have backup goalies here. Binghamton not coming in for the St. Louis Blues. It will be Hoffer coming in and Ingram for the Arizona Coyotes, even though backup goalies. I think you can look at the under 6.5. Again, I don't love the juice at minus 130 for a total here, but I do think it's the best way to go. Both of these goalies, while they're making their season debut, should be able to take the amount of shots that they're going to get on them. You look at the Arizona Coyotes, they're only putting up 24.7 shots on goal per game. And the St. Louis Blues only putting up 24.5 shots on goal per game. Defensively, goaltending wise, the St. Louis Blues have been playing the better hockey. The Arizona Coyotes, though, still allowing that 32.7 shots, but I really can't see the St. Louis Blues getting more than 30 shots on goal. And I think the Arizona Coyotes, they'll probably get 28 shots on goal. So I do think this one stays under the total of 6.5. The under is also really solid between these two when we look back over trends, 14, 6, and 2 in the last 22 in St. Louis. Yeah, Hoffer in net. It's going to be a really interesting game, you guys. Okay, make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button so you guys get notifications when we go live on the weekends. You don't want to miss out on that. We do go live 7 days a week here on Pocket with Joe on Sports Grid TV. Okay, Vegas taking on Winnipeg. And now before everyone just says, take the Vegas Golden Knights, I'm cautious. I'm also cautious with the lines. Let's quickly have a look if these lines have moved. Minus 120 here for the Vegas Golden Knights, plus 100 for the Winnipeg Jets, total 6.5, juice to that under at minus 115, minus 105 to the over. They're begging you. You're going to take the Vegas Golden Knights, and I'm not biting. The main reason I'm not biting is you look at the goaltending matchup. Now, Logan Thompson in for the Vegas Golden Knights, and he is exceptional. We have to give him all the credit that he is due. A .957 save percentage so far on the season, 1 goals against average. The Vegas Golden Knights are 4-0. This is a game, though, where they're facing the Winnipeg Jets, and it's not Connor Hellebuck I'm worried about. It's Boussoit in goal for them. If you remember last season, who was a backup goalie for the Vegas Golden Knights? It was Boussoit, and I do think he knows this team just too well. I also think this line is telling us to please, please, please take the Vegas Golden Knights. Well, they were minus 114, they're now minus 120, and there is no way the Winnipeg Jets will, I think, end the streak here for the Vegas Golden Knights on the season. I'm going to take the Winnipeg Jets to come out strong in that first period. Going to take them first period on the money line at minus 112. I'm also going to take, and this is another bet that you can get over on FanDuel, first period team to score the first goal. So in the first period, the Winnipeg Jets have to score the first goal. That's coming in at plus 130. I think they hit Logan Thompson quick, and Boussoit stands on his head. Now, can he stand on his head for the full 60 minutes of this game? I think he can, and I think Winnipeg can get the win. So a little sprinkle on that, little sprinkle on them on the money line in the first period, but I love that first period team to score the first goal of the Winnipeg Jets at plus 130. And I do think this stays under. Logan Thompson has been phenomenally strong for the Vegas Golden Knights. We know this team can put up those goals, but this defense has been rock solid, limiting opponents to 26.3 shots on goal per game. The Winnipeg Jets here have also been really strong, limiting their opponents to shots on goal, holding opponents to 28. Now, goaltending wise, that has been the issue, but it's not Connor Hellebuck, like I said. It's Boussoit coming out here for the first time of the season versus his former team. I love the payback. I know a lot of you are going to be riding with the Vegas Golden Knights on the money line to continue to be a winner on the season. So it's going to be interesting. We also have the Avs in that situation. So don't forget, I think one of these guys fall today. Looking at the Dallas Stars, they're taking on the Anaheim Ducks. And now you guys know I've bet the Anaheim Ducks a couple times. They've made us money once. I'm just looking at current odds plus 220 here for the Anaheim Ducks, minus 275 for the Dallas Stars. Total of 6.5, juice to the under at minus 132, plus 108 to the over. The Ducks, if you want to grab them, plus 1.5 on that puck line is minus 111. The Dallas Stars, if you think they get the blowout puck line cover here, minus 1.5 at minus 108. The Ducks might be the biggest quacking duck, the biggest barking dog of the day. I really do think the Ducks have the opportunity to pull this off. It's because I look at what the Dallas Stars have faced in their last couple of games. So they had a shootout win versus St. Louis Blues. They had to go to overtime. They went to shootout. Then they had a shootout loss versus the Vegas Golden Knights. And we know they would have had that game versus Vegas Golden Knights circled. You guys know that I had them to win that one versus Vegas, and that would have been crushing for them not to beat the Vegas Golden Knights because we know they were looking for revenge. So a shootout loss there. They played two very, very hard games, both going to shootouts. And I think in this one, if the Anaheim Ducks can stay out of the box, they have every opportunity in this game to be able to at least keep it tight. The Anaheim Ducks plus the 1.5 at minus 111 and the sprinkle on the money line is where I'll be going with this game. Last time these teams played, it was a tight game back in February, 3-2 win for the Anaheim Ducks. We also look at the Stars in Anaheim. They're 4-10 in the last 14 meetings in Anaheim. So best of luck in this one if you like the ugly dog like I do. Hines is back in the lineup for the Dallas Stars. We did see him versus the Vegas Golden Knights. So he is a difference maker, absolutely, for this Dallas Stars team. If you're looking at someone to get those shots, get those points, it definitely would be Hines there. The Carolina Hurricanes and the Seattle Kraken. Plus 126 here for the Seattle Kraken, winless on the season. Can they break this streak? Minus 152 here for the Carolina Hurricanes, total 5.5. The juice is moving on that over. It was minus 122 when I first glanced over, now minus 120. Okay. Can the Seattle Kraken finally open up offensively? This team has been struggling. We know they are 0-3-1 on the season. It's not looking pretty for this team, and everyone expecting them to win their last game at home versus Colorado. No, Colorado definitely had that game circled with the Seattle Kraken kicking them out of the playoffs. The Kraken did sweep. The Carolina Hurricanes swept the Kraken last season. So this is going to be a hard matchup. But again, we look at that value. We're looking at a team that hasn't won this season at plus 118, a Carolina Hurricanes at minus 142. Again, it really feels like they are just asking you to take Carolina at a short price because a lot of people liking to back favorites like this at that minus 150, minus 140 kind of range. I think this one stays under the total 6.5. I think Grubauer really has to come into his own in this one. 0-3 so far with a 2.71 goals against average, save percentage of 0.909. Now, Frederik Andersen expected here for the Carolina Hurricanes, and his numbers don't reflect the true ability of Frederik Andersen here with a 4.15 goals against average and a 0.855 save percentage. I expect this save percentage to start coming up over the next couple of games here, starting with a solid one here tonight. Now, the Seattle Kraken have been so strong on the penalty kill, but they have a very weak power play now, and the Carolina Hurricanes, strong power play, strong kills. So for the Kraken to be able to have a chance in this one, they have to stay out of the box. I just don't trust this line, and I think it leads me to want to take the Seattle Kraken here to get their first win of the season, and with the Carolina Hurricanes team that maybe overlooked them and maybe looking ahead at their schedule. Carolina on deck has the Avs and then the Lightning on the road, and then they face the Kraken next Thursday back home. So sprinkle a little bit on the Kraken, maybe the Kraken to come out in the first period and score first. We know if the Kraken have been scoring these goals, they've normally been coming out right out of the gate. Now, that being said, this is a team that is averaging under 1 goal per game. So do what you like with this game. If And when I bet this game, it will be, I'm hoping we get a little bit more value on the Seattle Kraken as the night goes on and people get in their bets. That one's at 10 o'clock Eastern tonight. I will be backing the Seattle Kraken for a little bit. The next game, we have the Boston Bruins taking on the San Jose Sharks. Now, the Sharks plus 220 here at home, facing the Boston Bruins at minus 275 on that money line. The puck line for the Bruins minus 1.5 is minus 110, total 5.5. And that is juiced to the over at minus 134, plus 110 to the under 5.5. The penalty kill has been absolutely flawless for the Boston Bruins. So the San Jose Sharks, even if they get on a power play, I'm not worried about them scoring here on Allmark and this Boston Bruins team that is only allowing an average of 1.5 goals per game and 28 shots on goal. San Jose Sharks are on the exact opposite page with the Boston Bruins here. With what they're doing offensively and defensively, this team is only averaging 1.67 goals per game and 20 shots on goal, and allowing 3.67 goals per game and 42 shots on goal. Worst team in the league, you guys, 42 shots on goal. Their goaltender is going to have to absolutely stand on his head tonight. And will he be able to do enough against the power of the Boston Bruins? This team is averaging 32 shots on goal per game and 3 goals per game. I do think this is one where the Sharks have been hanging a little tough with teams in the first couple of periods. We saw it with the Carolina Hurricanes in that last game where the Carolina Hurricanes said enough is enough in that third period and racked up, 4 goals in the third period, where we looked like the Sharks were going to be able to cover that puck line. So I'm not willing to go there because it's like the Sharks kind of let things go in that third period as well. I would be looking at anything here for the Bruins. I do think first period over 1.5 is a solid way to go because I could see the Boston Bruins getting 2 goals themselves or the Sharks getting one of these 2 goals. So the both teams to score in the first period, you guys know I don't love it that much in this one at plus 192. I wouldn't be shocked if it cashed, but I do like the first period over 1.5 at minus 116. And then we'll see where the game goes after that because this is going to be one of those games where the Boston Bruins they could win by 3, 4, 5. They could just keep going, depending on how they decide to play this game. The next game on the board, 10:40 Eastern, we have the Chicago Blackhawks taking on the Colorado Avalanche. Now the Avs, huge favorites, almost a $4 favorite at minus 385, plus 300 on the Chicago Blackhawks. Over 6.5 minus 108, under 6.5 minus 112. Now looking at the Chicago Blackhawks plus 1.5 is plus 118. The Colorado Avalanche minus 1.5 is minus 142. The Avs, another team yet to be defeated on the season, winning all 3 of their games at home in this game, their first game at home. How can we bet against this team, even with the Chicago Blackhawks here, having Connor Bedard and all the hype around him? I'm just not buying into the fact that they can play as strong as Colorado in this one. Now, with Colorado returning home, this team has been so strong out there on the road, only allowing 1.33 goals per game and 31.7 shots. So those shots are coming in, but Georgiev should be able to do enough in this game. He's 3-0 with a 1.3 goals against average. Now, the Chicago Blackhawks, Peter Mrazek, will be a difference maker again. We got to look at these goalies and how they play against certain teams, and he has been very solid against Colorado in his career. He is 4-1-2 in his 8 games against the Colorado Avalanche with a 1.69 goals against average and a save percentage of 0.941. It's phenomenal how Peter Mrazek has faced Colorado. So if he comes out like this, the Blackhawks could be able to keep it tight. But with what I'm seeing out of this team, only averaging that 2.75 goals, 29.5 shots on goal, and allowing 2.25 and 36.3 shots on goal per game, I just can't risk it in this one. Colorado, clearly the better team. And we know the Chicago Blackhawks with Connor Bedard have been coming out and they have been looking to get these wins and playing their hearts out in any of these games. And when they go behind, they're still playing to that buzzer at the 60-minute mark. So it's a hard one to go against them. I think if Colorado coming out on their home ice comes out how I expect and hits Peter Mrazek fast, we can look at them on the puck line in the first period. And that's what I'm going to play in this one. I'm going to lay the half a goal in the first period at minus 104. So we're kind of not getting that backdoor cover on a late goal there by Chicago as they dig deep, and Peter Mrazek just holds tight for the end of that game. It's going to be all these games are going to be fantastic out there on the ice. So you guys, that is every single game on the board today. That is 12. If you missed any of these games, make sure you go over to Sports Grid TV X if you're watching on IG. I will put up all the bookmarks. I have to go back and write down all the times where I talked each game, so you'll be able to skip ahead to the games that you wanted to watch. I will just recap that same game parlay. That is a shots on goal parlay that we are playing between the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Florida Panthers. I think this one has a great opportunity to cash. That is coming in at plus 562. We're taking Austin Matthews 4+ shots on goal, Matthew Tkachuk 4+ shots on goal, Sam Reinhart 3+ shots on goal, and William Nylander 4+ shots on goal, plus 562. Like I said, my weakest link, I think, is Nylander in this one, coming out only with 2 shots on goal in the last game. But I do think he can bump it up to 4 in this one versus the Florida Panthers. Remember, the Toronto Maple Leafs coming for revenge in this one, but home opener for the Florida Panthers. This team just hasn't looked the same without Montour and Ekblad back there. They are allowing more goals, but I do think the same game parlay, no matter what happens in this game, has the opportunity to hit. You've got to love Alex DeBrincat here to come out nice and strong. He's been absolutely phenomenal out there, and I believe he continues to play that strong. Lightning money line going over the points. I like where you're going there. That's a nice one. But you guys, that is it. Game Time Decisions is on right now. So head on over to sportsgrid.com/watch and check out all the places that you can check out that show. I am live on Sports Grid Saturday nights from 8 o'clock to midnight Eastern, and guesting on Game Time Decisions and Sports Rage all over the place. So make sure you guys stay tuned. Let's make some freaking money tonight. All the best in all of your bets. We'll see you tomorrow at 3:30 Eastern. Small slate tomorrow. Don't worry. We'll be able to move a lot faster through these games. Bye, you guys.